Good morning, participants. Welcome to another session of the virtual internship program focusing on full stack development. We greatly appreciate your active participation last week, and we hope to see the same level of enthusiasm from all of you this week as well. Without further ado, let's now delve into today's session and explore it in greater detail. And I would also like to thank Shobana ma'am for organizing this virtual internship program. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Pooja.
Thanks, Pranav. Very good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are excited. And based on our last week's session and discussion, we'll progress into today's session where we will discuss about face filters. So before we get started with this very interesting application today on face filters, where we will discuss about creating your own face filters similar to some what that you have seen on Snapchat and Instagram. We will also discuss about the technology behind these, where we talk about augmented reality. We'll also talk about virtual reality. And to just give you an extra edge over these two reality techniques, we'll also discuss metaverse. And as we talk about these and the environment that they've helped us create today, we will talk about uh, what neural networks bring in or help in getting to this face filters technology, and then we'll simply move to implement a face filters model. So before we get started, I would request you to follow that same ritual that we've been following through the 2 weeks, where we get the link to the session onto our chat. So once we have the link, then we will get started with our session where we'll set up the kit onto our systems. So just to reiterate, before we get started, you must have received your week 2 badges, and I did check some of your submissions, and I would say that it was interesting to learn. A couple of you have done some really interesting work there. So let's get started now. All right. So we see that we have the link in the chat. Go ahead and please click on that link on the chat. This will take you to your dedicated page for this week 3 session. So this is going to be a really interesting one for you guys. You could actually learn to overlay these virtual objects over the real world. And I think with this, you will be also able to quickly check out our 10-minute tutorial video on how to do it within 10 minutes. And then we get to this Candy One Click It solution. So today we will also discuss how you will have to work around your final project and how you could actually get to your internship completion certificate. So since I already mentioned that it is mandatory for you to complete your weekly coding exercises, only then you would be able to get to your internship completion certificate. So we will discuss about this in detail in today's session. But before that, let's get to the kit page. So for that, we just have to check out this practical exercise section and click on the Candy One Click Kit. This takes you to the kit page where we have listed down that you have already experienced this face filters when you use your Instagram, Snapchats, and even these virtual try-ons that you check out these days, where you see that you're able to you know get a outfit tried on. You could actually check out for furniture. You could actually also use cosmetics, and thereby you could actually enhance your experience as a customer to a particular application. You don't need to actually visit the store. So this technology that we are talking about today, this is similar to one that is being used by your Facebook's camera, etc. So we will quickly get into the setup of the kit. For that, we just have to click on the one-click installer. This will download a zip file. Just say show in folder, extract the contents of this folder by right-clicking and say extract all. So I would just mention skipping it. I'll just re-download one zip for my convenience. Extract this folder, double click the kit installer, extracted folder, and then just say more info, run anyway. So this will start setting up the kit onto your systems. So let this setup happen. In the meanwhile, we will go ahead with the concepts of today's session. All right. So you already know this part, right? Where we discuss how you could, get ahead as compared to others in the open source technology domain. So first of all, I would like to show this interesting output that you're going to see today. So we see one of these filters where a tiger face would be put across, and you could clearly see that it is having these bulged eyes, and those are my spectacles that are still there behind those. So we're going to create a filter somewhat like this, and even somewhere more interesting than this static image. So you could also move around with the filter. All right. So just let the kit set up onto your systems. In the meanwhile, we would just talk a bit on what the augmented reality is and how, excuse me, and how this augmented reality and virtual reality have already immersed into our world. So by incorporating digital features into our view today, we see that AR has enhanced how we used to interact with digital or how we used to interact with technology. You see that today we entirely are able to have a digital experience or a virtual experience of sorts where we are into another world. So when we talk about augmented reality, it basically has its roots in virtual reality, where you see that there is a virtual world, and that world actually is within a headset or a gear of sorts. So that virtual headset or a gear that you want to talk about basically immerses you as an individual completely into a digital virtual world rather than an actual one, where you could be anything, right? You could be owner of an entire country. You could be one of the biggest, richest person in that particular space. So this virtual immersion, where you actually also become a superhero, just like you must have seen in Matrix. So I guess you must have seen that movie Matrix, right? How many of you have actually seen that movie? A quick raise of hands. Hmm. So yeah, that's good. That's good to know that you guys have seen Matrix, and I guess you must also like it. So the concept in it is that that the actor or basically new, or let's say Keanu Reeves, he's able to get into another world. He's able to get into a virtual world where he's able to fight, and somewhere they relate it with the real world. So the augmented reality, if we talk about today, so it is a bit beyond just being a virtual world. So augmented reality is within the same space, within the same real world environment that we are. In the same environment, a virtual, object, a virtual element is placed over it. So we could have a particular furniture being placed on a particular space, and without us actually getting, actually getting the actual furniture and onto that space. So this experience where you have that uh, virtual components overlaid over the real world is augmented reality. And when we get into the virtual world, that is when we say is virtual reality. But how, and yeah, can you please mute yourself, whoever is unmuted? Thank you. All right. Uh, so metaverse. Okay, can you just mute Mary? Yeah. So when we talk about metaverse, it is an open, shared, and persistent virtual world that offers access to the 3D virtual spaces, solutions, and environment which the user can create. So basically, in metaverse, we are trying to combine a space where you could actually, the moment when I was saying you could be anything. So metaverse is something where you found your actor, Matrix actor be in, where he could, be. a superhero could have those powers and basically act completely different from what it was in the real world. And then these 3D virtual spaces offer you great solutions where there were discussions that there would be a particular currency, there would be minting, there would be whatnot in the virtual world of sorts, that is metaverse. But when we talk about AR today, what is such a big deal about AR? So you do not need to download an app to consume an AR. Okay, so there are different augmented reality experiences. You could have web-based augmented reality. You could have your mobile phone-based augmented reality. But we want to understand, irrespective of whatever we are saying today and experiencing today, how is AR going to help? So today, when you see web-based AR, you don't need to download a separate application. So you could actually experience it on your laptops on any browser, okay, which has a graphics engine of sorts. On that particular engine, web browser engine itself, you could experience the augmented reality. So basically, when we talk about AR, it has improved how you experience technology even over your smartphones as well. You could do it within the browsers. You just don't need to completely wait for yourself to download a particular application and then you consume AR. So within most of your browsers also you could experience the augmented reality. And then how it has helped, it makes you feel immersive. It makes you help interact with different objects. You feel like it is somewhat real. The experience is pretty much close to the real world. And then you just simply have to that 3D experience of sorts, where a virtual object is actually laid by the use of your phone screen. What do you need? You need a scanner, you need a screen, and through that virtual, through that phone screen, you're able to lay down that virtual component at a particular position. Okay, at a particular region on your space. So that is possible because you have, this 3D modeling available, which helps you create virtual objects. And when you start programming when you start creating these components in AR, you just need to have the knowledge of the different spheres, positions, and the way in which you should design. Like that tiger was placed on the position of my head. So you just need to code it. You just need to plan a bit better as to how your placement should, be so that the eyes are, for the 3D tiger model, everything is correctly placed at the right space. So you can do more and you could actually experience more. It could have an hierarchy where uh, you would say that you're placing, let's say, a video or a graphic or a game on top of something which is, let's say, a 2D component. Even you have seen your smart cards, right? These smart cards which could be scanned and then you see an anime out of it. You actually experience AR every now and then. Irrespective, today we are talking about the technology behind it. But how has it been possible? With the help of better processing power, better smartphones and internet, right? Without these basic components, without the processing power available with a smartphone, that wasn't possible. So what helps behind the browsers, what is available when we say web-based AR? The thing is that your AR engine is continuously sensing and it is trying to capture and track the environment, right? So we just need that AR engine properly focused. We need to align it well so that it is properly positioned. So, and it is able to give us the required expected results. So that's one of the things. And what are the different types of tracking? So even in AR, what I said, we need to just be able to do the tracking. So this term types of tracking is given by the creator of augmented reality, Hikum, who basically said that you could define different objects, components in AR. Either it could be an image tracking AR or a marker based AR. Marker based AR is where I provide a particular marker, or let's say it's like it's a significant image that acts as the space where that virtual object should be overlaid. Let's say I have a cardboard of sorts, right? And I want that whatever wherever I place the cardboard, the virtual object AR augmented reality effect should show over that particular marker. So that cardboard will act as a marker that will help, that will place the placement of that particular virtual component will happen on that particular target image. Or let's say your barcode like images where you scan a barcode and then AR experience happens, your natural images. So all these, product packaging, business cards, invitation cards, etc. All these could have these marker based AR, even the AR t-shirts where when you apply, use your AR based browser based AR engine to scan a particular marker, that marker basically pops out as a 3D image. Okay. So that is basically your marker based AR. But do we only have, do we need a target always? Do we need a target based image? So not necessarily. We have marker based ARs, and primarily today we see objects are directly attached to human face. Okay. We don't need any particular, target on which the virtual image would showcase. Irrespective, it would actually be attached to a human face. So let's say Facebook, Instagram, all these filters that are there, those get, placed there. So basically it is used in marketing campaigns. It is used in virtual try-ons. You see your Myntra apps, your Flipkart apps when you're buying a refrigerator. So if you want to see whether that big refrigerator would actually come into the space, you can use your Flipkart's capability. So Flipkart does help you get that capability where you could virtually try and use a particular object placed as your required space. So then comes in a third type, which is world tracking AR. This is also markerless. So these are all being defined by the creator of augmented reality. These are not hard coded, but these are something which the guy who helped create the code around it placed it here. So augmented objects can be placed anywhere. They are not restricted to face or let's say a target image or any physical object. So let's say when we are using an app called IKEA, which is used for, how many of you, you've got furniture by ordering it, online? It could be difficult, right? You have to get to the inches and length and width. So your parent would be like, we go and physically take it. But today, even these apps have become smart enough where they are giving you the possibility of actually seeing and showcasing yourself that whether that furniture would fit correctly in the space or not. So you could check IKEA AR, where you could see even Netflix when it introduced the Stranger Things. You guys must be watching this Stranger Things, right, series. So they introduced some interesting face filters based on the characters and different animations that are available in the series itself, characters that were there in the series itself. So all those were introduced to do what? Marketing, to basically, enhance the global reach. People interact with those and get excited. So this is what augmented reality is helping in. So in fact, in the world tracking AR, you must have heard of or must have also played the Pokemon Go game. As you change your location, as your geographical latitude, longitude changes, you keep getting different Pokemons, right? So that comes under your world tracking AR, or more specifically, even within the world tracking AR, a location based augmented reality experience, where as you change your geographical location, your accelerometer, etc., you are able to get a better experience in the game, or you are able to get into a location where you will find a particular Pokemon, right? So that is one of the examples of location based AR. So now let's talk about our face filters. So how are these being basically built? So these are built on top of face detection neural network. So you need to have a bit on the understanding on the neural network, where you would say that we combine the power of deep learning with the versatility of WebGL. So this 3.js library is what is being specifically introduced for AR experience. If you're trying to work with augmented reality, you need to just get to 3.js and experience the digital world there. So the WebGL, your web graphics library is already present in the or is basically helping you create a graphical experience of the web using this library. And then we use simultaneous localization and mapping algorithms, SLAM, right? We use these SLAM algorithms, which help you simultaneously locate a particular object, let's say a human face, and accordingly, the virtual 3D object is being placed on that particular face. And then it also relies on the computing power and the 3D scanning capabilities. So you need to have a good system. I mean, today all of the systems are capable enough, but let's say you have a very low end system, then that will make it difficult for the detection, right? Your browsers are pretty much rich in the let's say the scanning capabilities, the graphics engine that is behind all the capability to scan the image, to position it, to be able to dynamically capture your face as you are moving. So all that the browser in itself is capable after you're allowing the possibility of capturing your camera. But what about, what about systems which are old? So for them, the thing is, most of your low-end systems would also be having this capability with the current browsers being upgraded to an amazing amount of versatility, flexibility that is present. In fact, you nowadays do a lot of video calls, right? So where you use these beauty and video editor filters, if you have done your Zoom meetings, you would have seen that you could add not just backgrounds, but you could also add different filters to your own background. That way, you are only not only enhancing your experience, but also your video conferencing experience as a whole. So in fact, just now in the meeting, right? If I would like, I could get to an interesting filter or background of sorts. So now I would want to talk about this interesting library called 3.js. So as I talk about it, I would actually want you to experience it more closely. And for that, I would just reshare my screen with the sound. And let's go to experience 3.js. So this is the 3D library. And if you come here and explore the documentation, etc., let's say we just pick up any of these, right? These are different games, etc., that are available. So now this is, you could relight your photos and drawings in settings. So pick up photos, or let's pick something more of an animation of sorts. Stick it to the stickman. So this is again a 3D based game that is available. And then you could actually run an experience AR here. Let's see. New position now available. Okay. Your responsibilities, it's mentioning. Whatever. Let me just check out the demo. So you could actually check out the game demo here. I'm just trying to tell you that the kind of effects that with 3D AR is what you could generate. That is immensely great. So this AR experience here, uh, if you see, look at this.
Rise in a fast-paced marketplace of crunch culture.
You saw this, right? I mean, the music is great. The experience is going to be amazing. Not just this, let us check out some other interesting available 3D options. Maybe let's check out this. So most of these are running within your browsers itself. This seems to be from another language. Okay. So it's giving information of several products. And look at the interaction that we could have here. Okay. This doesn't seem to be something I would like to showcase in the demo here. Let's say, let's just experience this one. I mean, there are multiple such This is an AR experience for mobile. Please return on your mobile device. So then this is specifically dedicated to mobile. This one is again interesting one. Storyline, where you could add your story. People could also listen to it. Let's say drag to explore. Okay.
My name is Robert. I live on the Central Coast. I own my own home. I've been self-isolating since.
So you just saw, right? There's this couple of, interestingly.
My name's Asia. I'm currently living in.
So there's multiple stories being shared here. You just scroll and you could actually read and interact with one of these storylines here. So this is one of the
That is
applications.
sweet. I'll just.
You would check out another application that is available. Let's say track. So varied applications here are available. Yeah, I guess music, animation, and all of that sorts. And I guess you guys are also able to hear it. This is another simple application that's available where you could actually have the, experience of your WebGL library. In fact, the entire documentation with multiple examples are available here. So just to give you a hint of, you could submit one of yours as an open source. You could experiment with so many of these that are available here. And yeah, I just want you to be able to get a hinge of how powerful AR is. You could be one of these AR engineers yourself and experience as much as possible. So now let's talk about this library a bit in detail. Why and how you could actually have one of these experiences. So this library that we just saw, based on which there were so many multiple open source projects that are available. First of all, it is very lightweight. Okay. And it uses WebGL to draw your 3D models. So I said a couple of things you need to be capable of. One is to be able to draw the 3D models, and to have the capability to draw those 3D models, you just have to get a bit of understanding of a tool. There are multiple tools that I use to draw 3D models. So for that, I'll talk in a bit. But to be able to work around the 3.js, what do you require? Apart from, if there is a GPU that is there to render the graphics and 3D objects, apart from that, you primarily just need your browser, okay? It acts like there are objects that different objects that are showcased on the canvas of your web browser. You do not require any third-party plugin, and with couple of lines of code. Not you don't have to write thousands and thousands of lines of code, but with very minimal lines of code, you're able to do your 3D rendering of these 3D models. So what is this 3D rendering? All these elements, think of it like a movie, okay? Movie, and there is a director. A director is responsible for creating the scene. So when he's creating that scene, he basically, three things are required, okay? When we are saying we want to use 3.js, you basically first need what is the scene. Just imagine it like what scene you are trying to work with. Then you create a camera object. Okay, what camera's object you would want to overlay. And then you could change the camera object, etc., depending on the requirement. Third thing is the renderer object. What would you want to showcase to the viewer? Okay, so this 2D object rendering, given there is a scene and a camera, is what you need to work with. So three things. As a director, I have to plan what my scene has to be, what the background of it is, what the environment has to be, who needs to be there on the camera, right? I have to check out the camera. Either the interesting part about the AR is not necessarily that your person is moving. Even your camera moves, right? So if we are not able to move the object, we start moving the camera, and that way we are trying to render the scene to the screen in the best possible manner and give an interesting experience of sorts. So renderer, camera, and scene. These are the three major components. Once you have decided on these, within the scene, you have your mesh, you have your objects, and within this mesh, what is there? All your 3D objects, they are a representation in the form of a mesh. And it is composed of geometry, material. Let's say what kind of material that particular 3D object is composed of. And the geometrical shape could be sphere, it could be square, it could be any kind of shape, geometry. So that is what is very essential within the scene when you try to create the scene. So scene plays the major role when you are doing an AR experience. So this software is what helps you create your 3D objects. Okay, your 3D graphics. Let's say, let me showcase you Blender as well. So to be able to show you Blender, I'll just reshare my screen with you guys. So there is this separate software which is called Blender, like this. You just have to open your project or particular object of your component in this Blender. So let's say file is called, I just showcased you the tiger head. So you could just upload one last one, which I already did. Let's say tigerhead.blend, and I can open it here. It does, the software does take a little bit of time when you try to load it. So we'll just wait for it. Yeah, if you see this as of now, see, this is the right orthogonal, this is your front orthographic. So this is a bit something that you may have to, this is your top orthographic, and this is your one of the user perspective. So then the material you could preview here, the torso, the face, eyes. So all of this, these are different planes, and within these different planes, you have grouped them within this component. So then you, by default, this is the default view. You could actually go for various views here. Okay. So supposedly I go with this, and I then start working around annotating this one of the components. So all that is, let's say, specific to what you could chosen. And then you get into the details of insect face, extrude region, add a cube. So these geometrical, you could use your knife to cut, spin, etc. Right? All this is possible here, and this is just like one interesting tool that you should also be able to and capable of learning. If you are trying, if you're interested in developing applications around AR, and Blender could be a very interesting tool to work with. So let's discuss further about Blender. So what this Blender helps you do? Again, this is a free software that is under the GNU license. It helps you convert your 3D model to JSON format. Again, JSON format is very super efficient and low sized format. If you will keep your application heavy, then the rendering that is happening on the browser will not happen automatically. We discussed in the last session also that either you could put the rendering, I mean the automatic, either it could be on the head part or it could be within your body part, right? If you want that particular application to be automatically available or should be automatically rendered without a click of a button, then you could put it in head part. Or if you want to get it rendered only after you performed a certain action, then you can put it likewise in another time. So similarly, when we are saying that we want to make that rendering super efficient, we need to create low sized format models. Okay, so this Blender helps you do that. The format required is, again, it could be from this 3D model to JSON, which is again efficient. Hence, It's great to use one of these. You create, you transform, you could do sculpting, you could edit your models, do so much more with Blender. I tried to give you a very quick glimpse of it, but then it is a tool that you may have to yourself learn a lot more in. So how do you develop quickly? We would say it's super easy to work with open source libraries because there is a lot of support and guidance that is available through different people throughout the world. It is available to anyone and everyone. And then it is helping innovate and redistribute back to the developer community. So that is what makes this very, very interesting to work around with. So what do you check for? You check for support, you check for security, you check for quality, and then as students, you may not, you forget to check for license. So very essential that you also check the license, which should be permissive. When it is a permissive license, you don't need to, let's say, contribute back to community, and you never have any copyright infringement issues. Okay, so now let's start programming. So we would just go and check back our kit now. So this is the kit. You just have to say yes, and then it would extract the different components that are available in the kit. Okay, so we say that we are working with the 3JS library, and within this 3JS library, these different components would be loaded once you say yes. After these different components being loaded, you would see that from the different packages, your system would be able to listen on different locally available web pages, or let's say ports. So open one of these, whichever is convenient. Okay, just you could say control, you could select it, paste it in one of your browsers. All right, I would have to switch off my camera so that I can give it access here. Enter. So reload this one. So for this, I'll have to allow access. So you can see that. How did I get to this space? So let me tell you that in a while. First, you experience this filter, and as I'm opening the mouth, you could see these already, crystals, sort of small particles that are coming outside, and even this filter is being able to actually be placed on my face pretty correctly. Okay, so now quickly, I would just help you get here. Let's say I when you copy paste it, you just have to say advanced. When you copy paste it here, you just have to go ahead and say advanced and then proceed. Within the proceed, you just have to go to demos. In the demos, you have to go to 3JS. And then you just have not one tiger one, which I showcased. You have many others. So then let's say I want to play this Money Heist theme as well.
Stamattina mi sono alzato.
So
Oh bella ciao, bella ciao. Stamattina
just sharing it with
mi
the
sono
sound.
alzato e ho trovato l'invaso.
Yeah.
Oh partigiano.
So we could now go back and check various other that are available here. So there's an angel and demon that is also available. So basically the angel is setting the demon. And likewise, we do have maybe these butterflies as one of the filters. those come around. Then this is the one that you see a lot on the Instagram, dog face, and you could have maybe werewolf. But this one is crazy actually. So that's also there, and there are many others that you could actually experiment on your own and share with us as well. These this is your matrix AR filter. This one a basic. This is a little basic one, but yeah, that's also there. All right. So I hope you are able to also get to this part of the kit. How many of you are able to get to the setup part of the kit? Quickly, can we have a check on that? Just use a raise hand to say that you were able to set the kit and get to this part. Or would you like me to repeat anything that we have discussed till now? Ivan has been able to. What about others? Were you able to also get to the kit and you're able to actually use the different AR filters? Yes or no would help. Okay. Okay. You would check it after the session. Understand. All right. So no problem. Check it based on the recording. It will be good to have you guys experience this. This is a very interesting kit, and basically that helps us also get to it. Okay, couple of you. Yeah. So no worries. Once you are back home and you're able to check on your laptops, etc., then it will be really good to have your experience through this kit. All right. So now let me also get with the code part. Let us now get to the code part of it. All right. So I've just opened one of these demos, that particular folder. Like there are multiple ones here, and within the 3JS, I got to the tiger one. This is the one which I do like a lot. And then within the tiger one, I just checked out my first simple index.html. So within my index.html, I have my meta content here ready, where the language is mentioned as English. The text type is simply HTML and the character type set is UTF-8 format. This is your jealous face filter tiger demo. That's the title that will come on the index page. So we could check that, I guess, over here. Yeah, jealous face filter tiger demo, right? This is the header title. And then we would also be able to load these many multiple scripts here. So these are basically used so that we are able to experience this filter. So we'll just get into the main.js to understand more of it in detail. So what is happening in the mode.js is, main.js is, we have some global variables, and here we have your 3 camera tiger mount, which is hide mesh, which is first set to null. Then when you open, for that also those materials that were coming out, those are again declared. Then there are the particle objects, which are again 3D. All these are initially set, and there is a variable called is detected. So that is set to false. So when we get into the function detect callback, it is either the log has detected or has not detected. So just in case the callback has detected, then further the same would be logged off in the browser's log file. Okay. Last time we also checked console.log and alert functions, right? So that get in the browser itself. So that will get run here. The generate sprites are basically what we are doing. We are now then creating a canvas, basically. That canvas on which we are saying the different particles, etc., are placed. So we mentioned the width and height, okay, of our space where these particles would show. Then you have your RGB as your format. You mentioned dot add color as one of your functions within the gradient that helps you map these different particles to your when you open them out, right? So one thing is having these colored particles available, and next thing is that those are showcased on that same canvas that is being created. So with the init particle, we initialize the particles, right? If the particle is visible, then we just say return. So further, there is particle dot position dot set. So with some mathematics that is applied here, the particle are being positioned in a way that they are visible, and the visibility of the particles is set to true. Then there is twin dot, which is again used for the flow. Let's say x direction, and then we are able to say that same particles we would want to move around within the both x and y as well as z axis with some delay added to it. All right. Then, then further, we also mentioned the scale of the visible particles. So that is multiplied by 0.6 again with a random mathematical function method random. After that, you have your custom mask material. So this mask material is your tiger face, 3D tiger face, which acts as a mask. So there is this the three dot shader, lib dot vertex shader that is being with which we are initializing your vertex shader. I mean, basically we are loading it into this variable. Then what we do, we now want uh, the jaw opening has to be detected. Mouth opening, even with your jaw, that has to be detected. So if you see, primarily here you have your position being mentioned, position dot y and position dot x, which is being then multiplied by 0.2, and your movement, or let's say your mouth opening with the jaw being dropped, is being uh, located, let's say, and then this is your, we say WebGL. So we just create a variable called GLS source for that. Then comes in this fragment shader source. Again, we have initialized it using the 3.js library here. I'm calling the shader library.lambert to initialize it. And what we are doing, the different step functions, 0.05, 0.2. What is this? These are the positioning of that mask. Basically, the tiger mask that is present. So we position it, point to the left eye, point to the right eye. Once you have set the position to the two eyes, you then smoothify it in a manner that it should be able to showcase perfectly as fading. So this smooth step is used for fading because it could show the eyes closing and opening, right? It could show the effect of the eyes opening and closing here. And then entirely this is the rendering that is happening for let's say the movement, the face being moved to left or right. For that also we are trying to distribute the position. So one thing is mathematical vectors are there. This could be a bit complicated. So couple of things you know that we just have to gather from the 3.js and then paste it as a source part here. Just that we have to correct the complete position with the 3D model. So this may look a bit complicated, but we don't worry about it much. We could pick it from the library, and then you simply do what? You do the rendering part of it. Once you have mentioned the mouth opening and other, I mean, these are the materials, and let's say initializing those materials and putting those as variable here. So let's say texture, etc. are being mentioned. And then this mouth opening material.push is being called here. So then comes in your scene. So within the scene is what we would want the this tigerhead.json. So this is from the blend file. The blend file that I showcased you earlier in Blender, that is being loaded in the JSON format here, right? So that has to be correctly loaded. And the background we require with a white.png, right? So that is being also here. Let's say this head texture 2.png, this is there, then tiger head.json. This JSON file helps us in doing that particular opening. All right. So, all right, we were at the tiger mesh and then we talked about the build particles. Aha, okay. When we were talking about the build particles being created, we also need to check for ambient light, whether there is light available or not. So for that also there is, this ambient light, directional light, etc. that is available. You create the camera, you say jealous3 helper dot create camera, right? So there were a couple of things, scene, camera, and the renderer. So basically we were talking more of the renderer part. So this part we were talking about, right? The what needs to be rendered when. And once this function is defined, then you have your specs for your 3JS with the tiger mesh being loaded here, right? The JSON file being loaded, etc. And then the mesh material being loaded with the particular color, the mask geometry, etc. And then the position we mentioned, the position dot set helping to position your tiger face. Okay. So then within this, we have mentioned that these particles to run up to less than equal to 200. So that there are some fixed number of particles that we run with. And then, yeah, the lighting that was checked in the scene, the camera that will help us capture your face. And then within the main function is where we are loading the error code. Let's say there is an error, so that would be showcased. If not, then jealous filter is ready. That would log on to the console. Then your function called detect state would load. Uh, this let mouth opening detect state would also have, we earlier talked about whether mouth opening is detected or not. And if this opening is greater than 0.5, then this math function would run. Accordingly, the particles would start showing up. And yeah, we could just recheck once. So this mouth opening would happen like in two axis itself. Simple two axis movement with Y and Z was mentioned for the opening detection. And then jealous3 helper dot render will help us in rendering the state that is being detected alongside with the camera detecting that particular face. So this may look a bit complicated, but when you start working around it, then it would start looking a bit easier. So this tiger head.blend we have loaded in the dev folder. So this file would only be opened in the Blender as a tool. And then there are these tiger eyes, etc. and texture which are present in this particular first demo folder. So this is our solution for today. And primarily, apart from what we have discussed as this session for today. Once you would actually download the kit, only then you would be able to get the complete, understanding. You'll be able to play around with the kit and feel a bit interesting into it. But now, before we go ahead, I would want you to also check out the way in which you would submit your project, your final project submission that has to come. So that final project submission, for that, you just have to, I'll just close it. You have your community page. On the community page section, you have your final assessment and project submission. You would click on this. So you would mention the name of your college, your name, your email ID, and let's say your year, maybe final year, your branch. So this you've been doing already. And then you would answer a couple of questions. When comes in your simple, this time you just have some 3 exercises here. What you got to do next is, once you are done submitting these exercises, you have your project here. So for the project, for that you just have to actually create a candy kit. So how do how do you go ahead and create a candy kit? So for that, let's say I have an option to go to candy.openvivo.com here. Whatever account you've already created, the same account you could use, and then click on uh, MySpace. And let's say within your My List, just go and click on New List. This is very important, guys. Okay. This part is most essential. If you don't submit a candidate, you won't be able to evaluate your final project submissions. So you just have to submit it as a candy kit. So when you say a candidate, so what else we mention here? Let's say I have 4 components that I would require in this solution. Okay. So first thing is, let's say the heading. Okay. 4 components are important that you need to mention. Let's say I'm building a solution around ChatGPT. So I would name it as build your own ChatGPT. You could mention the name of your college as Loyola. And then you could mention, if you would like, you could mention the name, your name, but that would show as per your account that you have created. Let's say you would say whatever is your name, ABC underscore build your own, or let's say you could just name it as a furniture website or a portfolio website, whatever you build, right? Something like that. And you would say full stack development. You just say stack web development. You could just mention website. You could just add some tags here, right? Website, homepage, etc. And then once you have named your kit, you could also add an image. You could just add an icon here for your website, whatever feels convenient. Let's say it is on maybe online education. You would just add that. Okay. Or I'll just rename it for education. This could be one of the headings first. Then comes in your section where you would have to add the, let's say, any image. There is a first section which will be description. This description, when you go here, you could add it as an heading 3. You make it underline if you would like. You copy paste any image that you would feel is good. Just say Control V, add this image, add some description about what project, what website you are creating. Then you just have to go ahead and say content editor, get one more box for yourself, right? So one thing is the heading, the image, whatever you've added here, icon. Maybe I'm just simply adding this icon here for now. And then you add another section, which is your section 2, which is dependent libraries or resources. So this dependent libraries or resources is the libraries that you would use. Just say heading 3 again. And you could also save your progress. It automatically gets saved, but it'll be good to also go ahead and save the progress that you are making. And then once you are done with this, you go ahead and how do you add the libraries here? So you just have to go and search for some libraries. Let's say I would just search for my 3.js itself and hit find. Okay, click on libraries. So mostly it won't take that much time. And then let's say I want to add a library on ar.js. I can add that, which is part of my project. Or maybe I want to talk about some 3JS games. I would save that. I could mention description about these libraries. Let's say some tutorials. I'll add that. Okay. So I could just simply add whatever I feel and that will show in my space. Click on my space. So something from I'll just delete it. Yeah, ARJS is, so I'll just go ahead and delete the ones which were earlier there. So all the libraries, let's say 3 of these that I added will be present here. I'll select them, say move to, and then go to my list. And in the my list, I'll just move these. Okay. Now when I go to my list and click on the list, Loyola ABC Furniture website, I'll have my dependent libraries showcased here. So section 1 is description. Section 2 is dependent libraries that I have used for some knowledge resources that you would like to link here. You could mention about this also if you would like. These are, these are the libraries that have helped in completing this project. I've used the required ARJS to build. You could just mention all these details here. And then further, once you have added the second section and mentioned the required details, you have to add another third important section, which is your GitHub repository. Okay. This is very important that you go to GitHub. I would just name it as, I'll just highlight it with this heading 3. And this GitHub repository link, how you would get, you have to push whatever you are creating as one of your projects on GitHub. And from here, you could pick up your repository after you have uploaded it. So for your GitHub project, I would suggest you just check out a video as to how you have to, add files and add up, create a simple repository on GitHub. If you don't know, copy this important link, very important, copy this important link, paste this link, and also remember to hyperlink it. Just select it, link it, save it. Okay. Only then we will be able to check your projects. So very important, add this GitHub repository link to your solution kit that you candy kit that you will create. Third, this is the third important section. Then comes in your fourth section, where I would want you to just have your code and let's say the relevant output. Maybe you just take these two, add the screenshot of it. Just add the screenshot. So what are we going to name it? We're going to name it solution source screenshot. Some screenshots, if you have created a website, all right, but it should also have the solution source. Screenshot of your solution source and the relevant output that you are able to get through your kit. Okay, so once we have these, let me also highlight this section. As a heading 3. Okay, I've highlighted, there are 4 important sections. Okay, I will just save it. Then very important, remember to publish this as a kit. And when we say publish now, Wait for a minute, your kit will be seen here. View your kit. Click on the view your kit. You see if you go like you could add your icon, whatever name you add. And then there is description, there are dependent libraries, the repository link, and the solution source screenshot. Okay, maximum screenshots, etc. More information or any more section that you would like, you could surely go ahead and add as per your relevance. So the choice completely rests on you. But this link is what we are going to take as a submission. And the link should have these 4 primary sections. You could have more if you would like, but all 4 sections should be there in your submission that you do on the Google form with this kit link. Candy kits are compulsory. So in the project, you basically have to create a website of your own. It could be any website that you feel is relevant and inculcates the concepts that we have discussed the in the 3 week sessions that we have had. So it could be, let's say, portfolio website. It could be a simple website with some dynamic elements attached to it, where you have some data that is being also loaded onto the website as we open it from the backend. Also, you could take some data, fetch some data, load some data, depending on what project you would like to submit as your full stack uh, project. Okay, so that is also one of the things, and this is most important, that you submit your solution as a candidate. Once you are done, remember to publish this kit and get to your view your kit as the link. Only then copy paste this link and submit to us. So that's how you would be able to go ahead and submit your project through this final assessment and project submission link. Now we could quickly go ahead and ask any questions that you may have as of now regarding your submissions, regarding the discussion that we had today on the face filters. And if most of it is clear, because you could actually check out the recording later if you don't have your systems as of now. But since this is our last week and following week, you'll have to work on your own and submit your solutions. You could simply uh, ask whatever queries you have here, or also post the session. If you still have queries, use this. Just have to log in here. And once you have logged in here, both the chat as well as this reply button will be available. So you could paste or ask your queries on this page itself, kit page itself. All right. If you have questions, quickly post it in the chat. Does the website need to be necessarily have all the topics covered, or just any website we want? No, you could actually create whatever website you are comfortable with. You are free to add your solutions. Even we have listed down examples. When you open and start submitting the form, you would see that we have listed down the relevant options which would look like a good submission for your full stack project. Not necessary to cover everything. Not necessary that you submit anything in augmented reality. Could be something related to web development, full stack. Okay. All right. Any other questions that you guys may have? You could actually experiment with different repositories that are available and then make your own changes to it. It should be personalized. You shouldn't be copy pasting everything. Because that is not how we would want it. So submit something which you have worked with, tinkered with, take the solution. Maybe you could take up solutions that are discussed, but then make the required changes in those kits, and then you could submit them as one of your own as well. Candy kits are all permissive. So you could pick those, make changes, and also showcase one of them as your solutions. But you need to make some good changes to it. All right. So I guess this is it from us today. I would want to request you to open up your cameras and also showcase your experience, discuss about your experience during this session. Last week we discussed as how you should be camera ready today. I think we did send that information in the email yesterday as well, Sandhya.
Yeah, Pooja.
So can we have us take a quick minute and quickly can you all also come on the camera? We will have some discussions before we close our internship, which spanned to these interesting 3 to 4 weeks. Right? Students, can you also quickly switch on your cameras? It will be good to see you guys as well. You've been seeing me through this session. It'll be good to have you also, showcase yourself. I think you guys are in college, right? So won't be a difficult. You don't have a camera, but right? You could use your phone to join. Then Bailin, you could join through your phone on this link and use the phone's camera. That will help me also remember your faces once in a while. Usually these virtual internships, we don't remember each other. Take a minute, maybe you could phone not allowed. Oh my God, that's really strict. Or if you don't have a camera, then we won't be an interesting experience. Usually we play around with in the last session. All right, any interesting feedbacks? You could unmute yourself at least and we could talk before we conclude the session. Anything that you would want to say? How was the experience? It was a mix of maybe, confusion, interesting. It was, how was it? At least one of you could speak and just make us feel a little better that, yeah, you would not just glued to the screen for an hour because your college said it, but you also found something worthwhile. So, hey, Janet, Mary, Michael, any one of you would like to talk? Or we could just conclude the session by saying bye and okay, all right. So I'm glad that it was a good and decent experience, learning experience for you. Okay, no worries. I guess based on what system and configurations you guys are on, we won't be able to speak. So, all right, I would take it as a good feedback. You could post your feedbacks in the chat. That will also help us go forward with this internship feedback that we may collect post you submit your projects as well. And accordingly, we will able to provide you your internship completion certificate after thorough evaluation that we do. Thanks. Thank you guys. And I hope we were able to push through something interesting and as a hands-on experience for you guys to learn from. Thank you. And have an interesting workaround for your capstone projects.
Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you, Pooja.
So,
Thanks,
students,
Adina.
just wanted to inform you that a follow-up email will be sent today, which contains all the essential resources, including the project assessment that you need to complete. So, therefore, I kindly request you to check your inboxes. So, if you're having any queries, please clarify now itself. If not, okay. Thank you all so much for participating in this 4-week internship program with us. Feel free to reach out to us for any queries.
Yes, Sandhya, there's one of those queries where one of our students is saying there's a second week badge which Joseph may not have got. I
Okay,
guess.
so by today you will be receiving your second week batch. Those who did not get.
Okay. So those who did not get, they would be able to get it today. And yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that for some and most of you, it was an interesting experience. So most of the time it's us who's speaking, but it is very also, very important for you guys also to at least speak out your heart. That way we are able to improvise on what we work around with. Thank you. And hopefully we will have some very interesting submissions in the capstone project. Thank you guys.